What's up, everybody? Welcome to What's Up, the show where we talk all things energy. We'll share some stories, maybe share hopefully a couple of laughs, and give you some information you need to make informed energy choices. My name is Sean Welsh. I'll be the facilitator for this episode. I'm joined by my fellow CEAs behind the scenes today and Cornell Cooperative Extension educators working on NYSERDA's Community Energy Engagement Program, or SEEP for lack of a better term, Colin Atkins and Danielle Salisbury. Through this program, local community energy advisors in 10 regions across New York State help residents and businesses make reduce their energy consumption and make informed energy choices. So today our topic is the community energy advisor role within the Community Energy Engagement Program.
This week, we're joined by a very special guest. Lou DeJesus is a fellow community energy advisor from Western New York with PushGreen, which is a project of Push Buffalo. So Lou, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you coming from?
I grew up in Massachusetts in a very small rural village, Williamstown.
Get out of here. You're from the Berkshires?
Yes, I'm from the Berkshires.
I know Williamstown. Cool.
You're one of 2,000 people that knows that. But it was lovely. It was great growing up. Just kind of growing up in the woods and leave home in the morning and come back and there's dinner on the waiting, on the dining room table.
How did you find yourself now doing this stuff?
I think because my mother was very influential. She was very much into conservation, nutrition, vegetarianism, and just kind of overall healthy living. So when I came from being in a rural area to an urban area in Buffalo, it was kind of apparent, like the air's not as clean, there's not as much access to fresh organic vegetables, easily accessible. And so I always had that interest in just trying to make this community I found myself in healthier in every single way. Mm-hmm. And what becomes immediately apparent on the west side of Buffalo is that you can look and see the Peace Bridge and see trucks idling when I first got here 15 years ago, just idling for hours and finding out about asthma. And then finding out that if a home was insulated, you could keep good air quality inside and keep all of that out. So while people are working on policy to stop the trucks idling, you can help protect the people that are living within range of that. And that's what Push Buffalo was doing, and what PushGreen was doing was a major push behind getting it started.
So starting from these environmental effects that PushGreen and Push Buffalo were seeing in their community, how did having a community energy advisor then support that mission?
Primarily outreach, a little bit of hand-holding. Things are getting easier, but still at this moment, if someone kind of Googles insulate your home, who knows what's going to show up. And the possibility of finding yourself presented with a package that no one really in this area can afford is very high. So keeping in touch with the community about incentives, and then also having people on a certain level understand, because this is like third, fourth generation Buffalonians, they live through a tough winter, they're, bootstrap types, and getting them to really understand these incentives and rebates are no one's gift to you. It's why you're in New York State, why we pay such a high tax, why we have things like a conservation incentive program that we pay into. We're paying into this great pool, and when you need it, you draw it down. And frankly, the climate doesn't care who's cutting down their emissions. So however you get it done, and have a
Mm,
healthier community, stronger economy. It's been very fulfilling, very, very fulfilling.
awesome. What would you say is sort of the most interesting part to you in this work?
Well, the story I always tell, ironically, is the customer who was not a customer, a very close neighbor of our office, who was, I guess, the third generation in her home on the west side and loved it, proud of it, and it was crumbling around her ears. It was just picture in your mind.
I'm picturing it.
And you're picturing it, right?
Yeah.
So I met her and her mother and her sons, and her house was just in no shape for insulation, not even close to it. So I'd stop in on my way walking to work and kind of give her a little pep talk, and helped her stick it out through some city repair programs. And little by little, everything took shape. I think it was probably a good 2-3 years in the making before we were able to come in and do just a very little bit of empower work. And that was like the cherry on the sundae of, my favorite customer that wasn't really that much of a customer.
Mm. Wow. I mean, that is a wonderful story, and you mentioned Empower work, Empower New York being the NYSERDA program that provides no cost energy efficiency upgrades. There's a lot in that story that reminds me of our work and the conversations that we have as community energy advisors about, like the best way to help someone, because there's this patchwork of programs out there. And no matter how many programs and no matter how broad these eligibility criteria are, there's still some gaps. And you still find people that, like in that example, they weren't ready for the insulation work yet. There was some basic health and safety stuff that had to happen first. And so the question that keeps coming back around is, what does it mean to be a good community energy advisor, and what does that work look like day to day? Because the way that I see it is we have to pull in as many different resources as we can, and it's this process. It's a journey. In every one of these households we get to know, what does being a good community energy advisor mean to you?
I think it would be having as your goal to make sure that family gets what they want and need. And because we don't have the constraint of, say, working on commission, I can email someone 6 months later and say, how did it go? They're happy. They didn't use any NYSERDA program, or say possibly a little piece of one, a little AHP for, the fancy furnace they always wanted, and say to them wholeheartedly, I am so super stoked. Fantastic. Keep in touch. And then say they start getting our email newsletter, and it's a year later and I can tell them about Solar for All that wasn't even anywhere on our radar when we, parted ways. So keeping that big goal, we're trying to save people and a planet here. And if we can help make that happen, according to what meets that family's needs, then it's a win-win.
Absolutely. When I love how you put people and planet on an equal footing here, because this work, I certainly came into this work really interested and active in the climate and environment side of this, saving kilowatts and getting New York to meet its climate goals and stuff. But it was really quickly that I unexpectedly found that that is probably now only 10% of why I'm really interested in this work now. like, sure, I feel good that, you know, we're part of this big mission and we're all pitching in, but like, it is the households that we get to meet, and it's the people's lives that we have a very real impact on, and get to help them through as well. We in Extension often talk about, you know, empowering others to make these choices for themselves. So it's a little bit of hand-holding, but you know, we're really trying to give them the tools and resources that they need to make these choices. And if there's one piece of it, Lou, that, you know, we could always try to do more of, it's that following up, right? How do you create an environment in which, you know, people feel comfortable giving Lou DeJesus a call?
Such a great question. Well, the difference that I've seen, because we do interact with so many agencies, that a lot of agencies and orgs are doing good work, but you get a feeling that it's about the work as opposed to the purpose of the work being to help people and help the planet. And I just happen to be really blessed to be working with some of the warmest, funniest, sweetest people. And we just love, I don't even want to call them customers. We call them our friends
I hate
and
that.
neighbors.
Such a sticky word.
We call them our friends and neighbors.
Yeah.
And we just love them. And it shows, and it's reciprocated. It's definitely reciprocated.
Yeah.
And I think it helps get the work done better.
Yes.
People don't feel comfortable being able to say, I don't know, I'm thinking of a recent call, a landlord, right? Oh, the landlord's the bad guy. This guy is barely making ends meet now. His work is down like 3/4, and he's worried about his tenants being hot in the upstairs apartment. That is so sweet. And he cares so much. The last time we spoke, he was on the fence. Should I get insulation? I'm not sure what I should do. And so I called him and I was like, no pressure, but dude, I don't know why I forgot. I have half an attic too. Insulate the half. You'll see the difference. And he was like, really? And I was like, yes, trust me. Trust me, get this done. And we'll see about getting the rest done when you can afford it. And so he went ahead, got the audit, had some insulation blown in, but it was that, you know, you could tell he was a little almost embarrassed, but mainly concerned. And that got me to segue into the great program changes, you know. Hey, did you know you could get?
That's awesome. There's so much out there as part of these programs, and you know, again, kind of builds out that picture of how confusing a landscape it can be for somebody who just is experiencing an issue. Maybe it's a spike in their energy bill. Maybe it's just a draft that they feel and want to address, and where to start with all this can be so confusing, which is what I think is a really beautiful thing about the Community Energy Engagement Program, is this independent help that you can get to help you through that whole process. And like you said, we're not making commissions, so we're just here to help folks along the way. Lou, thank you so much for talking with me today. This has been a wonderful chat. I love all the work that you guys are doing out there in Western New York. Tell us a little bit, if you would like, about what else you got going on, what else PushGreen and Push Buffalo are up to, and how people can get a hold of you.
Well, oh my goodness, where to begin? Tons more affordable housing projects starting. Many, many, many more. Still in the green development zone. We're still doing our warm and dry program, which braids funding to do home repair. And then programs like Empower New York and AHP funding. So we're still doing that. we're still doing our widely popular contractor Q&A live on Facebook. And I'd say that's the best way to find what we're doing. And if folks think of it, definitely shoot us an email and get on our e-newsletter list. This has been a great time to kind of get a lay of the land. So we've been able to get a lot of information about, say, Department of Health updates, Department of Environmental Conservation updates, and try to cram them all in a newsletter that, you know, isn't too unwieldy to read. What else is in the works? We're doing a lot of presentations on solar. Fortunately, solar has been one of those things that folks could continue getting done during the pause. So we've done a lot of outreach around solar, just surprisingly busy for being paused.
Right. Well, thank you again, Lou, so much for talking with us today. It was a wonderful chat. I hope we can have you back sometime and we can continue the conversation here on What's Up.
We'd love to.
Great.
Well, thanks for watching, everybody. For more information and help with your energy concerns, you can contact your local community energy advisors at midhudsonenergychoices.org. If you liked what you saw, you can follow at CCE Duchess on Facebook. You can find us on Cornell Cooperative Extension, Sullivan County's Facebook page as well. And you know, if you like what you saw, you can find more videos on CCE Duchess. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.